Happy New Comic Book Day, everybody. I just left my local library where I picked up Superman End of the Century. And the main reason why I'm showing you this is because probably in a few days, Wednesday Serial, Matt and I will do a video discussing this. He kind of picked it out as one of the trades he had that he wanted to chat about. And he kindly read Tom Strong at my request. So I couldn't find this digitally. I think it's out of print maybe, or anyway, it wasn't really easy to find. So, but the library had a copy of it. So I went to the library and got it, and I will read it in the next day or two. I'm most excited about it just because we're going to chat about it. I don't really know what it's about. At first I thought, looking at the cover, maybe it's like an Elseworlds. But when I randomly opened it, it looked like a modern-day Metropolis. So, written and drawn by Stuart Immonen. If there's anyone else who has this book and wants to chat about it, let me or Matt know. I'm sure we'd be happy to have a third or fourth person join in. Hopefully Matt won't kill me for saying that. But I think he'll be totally fine with it. So now, on to the comic books I picked up today. Oh look, right on the top of my... I hope this is the main cover. Right on the top of my stack is the Autumn Lands, Tooth and Claw. I'm slowly beginning to think of it as the Autumn Lands rather than Tooth and Claw, so I guess it works changing the title slowly. Cool cover. It's definitely one of my top books. May or may not be the very best thing I read in a purely subjective sense, but objectively, I just really have enjoyed this so far. This is issue 6, so yeah, you never know if things will turn around on you. But, well, as many of you know, I live in Portland, Oregon, and Portland is just full of comic book professionals. So Kurt Busiek goes to my store too, and he was there, and they're always trying to get me to have him sign it, and I don't want signatures on my books for whatever strange reason, so I never ask him to sign it, and I feel like I should say something to him, but I have no idea what. It may sound like I hope it doesn't sound like I'm bragging when I say, the editor-in-chief of Dark Horse was in my comic book store, Kurt Busiek's in my comic book store, Brian Michael Bendis is in my comic book store, blah, blah, blah. Because actually, it's uncomfortable to me. I'd rather not have the creators walking by while I'm buying my comic books. I'm just not. I don't know what to say to them. I could say, hey, you're great. But other than that, I don't know what to say. And I don't really want to say, hey, you're great, even though this is one of my most favorite books. So I'm real psyched this came out this week. Hopefully it won't suddenly turn on me and not become my most favorite book. Here's my favorite Batman book right now, Batman Arkham Knight. The covers are kind of weak, and this seems like the weakest one yet. Here's a pretty cool cover. Baltimore Cult of the Red King. But the first issue of this did not grab me, so I'm hoping for more here, especially since the price has been raised to $3.99. And then one of those $3.99s that I don't mind paying for Richard Corbin. This is sadly the last issue of Rat God, which is really neck and neck in enjoyment for me with Autumn Lands. I have high hopes for Omega Men #1. Is this the main cover? I'm getting paranoid about being given alternate covers. No, this is the main cover. I'm mostly excited about this, A, because I have this vague nostalgia for the Omega Men from the early 80s, and B, and more to the point, I've really liked the writing in Grayson, which was by Tom King. I think his name's Tom King, something King, and Tim Seeley, and this is King's first solo book that I know of, where he solo writes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. And then I've heard that there's this thing called Non-Player, which is really great. The first issue came out 5 years ago, according to my comic book lady, and the second issue just came out today. And they luckily reprinted. It says third printing right on the cover. They've just reprinted Non-Player, so I can have Non-Player 1 and Non-Player 2. And according to my comic book lady, the very nice person who is the manager and I think half owner of the store, I'm distracted by someone right next to me. The artist or creator, Nate Simpson, 5 years ago got into a car accident or some kind of accident that shattered his shoulder and arm, and he had to relearn to draw with his other arm, and that's why this took so long to come out. I don't know if she knows all the facts, but that was very interesting. So 5 years would change your art style anyway, but it'll be interesting to see if there's a noticeable difference between the art styles between the two. This is my What the Heck book. I'll try Airboy. There's only going to be 4 issues of it. I don't know if I'm that excited about writer and artist go on a drunken debauch and meet a fictional character. Somehow that sounds really familiar. There was adaptation. I feel like I've read novels where that kind of thing happens. But it still sounds like it would be mildly amusing to me. I got Zero number 17, but I have all these Zero trades now I want to read before I start reading Zero again, because I got so lost in it. But very interesting cover. You can't probably see it very well. Another DC number 1, Bizarro. I love this cover, actually. This is one I read the preview of Bizarro, the 6-page free digital preview they put out with my daughter, and she really liked it, and I've got to admit it was pretty funny. So we're going to try it at least for an issue. And also, for me, but with my daughter as an excuse to buy it, Looney Tunes. I pick this up randomly, not every issue, but it's usually pretty good. So, so if you want to talk about End of the Century, let me know. Otherwise, you can watch me and Matt talk about it in a few days. I'll have to talk to Matt about when he's free and when I'm free, but I'm sure that'll be pretty soon. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.